Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. On February 4th and 5th, the StarCityGames.com Open Series comes to Richmond, and this event is going to be huge. We're talking hundreds of players, over $14,000 in cash prizes, at least 18 players qualifying for any SCG Invitational in 2012. Live coverage all weekend long courtesy of SCG Live, and as much Magic the Gathering as we can pack into one weekend. So make plans to join StarCityGames.com in Richmond, and we'll see you there.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the Magic Show. We are working our way through the entire Dark Ascension spoiler. We are now up to the red cards. I am here joined by Todd Anderson and Jerry Thompson. Two fantastically professional players, and I'm just a happy, fun Magic nerd.
You flatter me, sir.
Woo! Yes. Well, and first we'll start off the red cards with our Afflicted Deserter, Werewolf Ransack. Now this guy really brings into the idea that when a creature transforms, something cool happens.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about this guy?
I like the card. I like what it does, you know, killing artifacts and whatnot, but having everything be the same as Tormented Pariah is kind of weird. Like the 4-mana 3/2 werewolf.
Turns into a 6/4.
Yeah, it's just very strange, very similar, but I definitely like what this guy has going on.
This one just smashed to smithereens something.
Yeah.
Rah.
Yeah, I do like the flavor of this card also. Like, you know, he's the deserter, so he's like, you know, he's like leaving the camp, and then in the next picture he's coming back and just setting everything on fire. Like, just burning it all.
Time to kill everyone.
Yeah. It's like,
So, in Limited, how do you feel about this guy? Sort of, what's his power level? Like, really good, really bad?
I mean, he's very good against cards like Butcher's Cleaver, obviously, because there aren't a lot of, like, playable cards that just randomly can kill Butcher's Cleaver. Mm-hmm. So I think he's, like, a very main deckable card that gives you, like, an out to, like, the Invisible Stalker deck, which is nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of equipments that are actually pretty good, and being able to have this guy main deck to, you know, deal with stuff like that means I'm way more willing to main deck this guy than Tormented Pariah. Like,
oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Cutting Pariah every time, probably playing with this thing.
Yep.
All right, so Alpha Brawl, I think, is another in the long tradition of random red rares, like that do random things with a bunch of text and
Crazy insurrection type things
God.
happening.
like 8 mana.
I mean, eight mana is a lot, but it is just like one-sided Wrath of God Unlimited. Like, choose their biggest guy, kill everything. Yeah.
Oh my god!
It's
and if it has Death Touch, GG.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be a cool story.
Pretty sick.
Cool story, Brawl.
Yeah, this is the cool story, bro card right here. So I alpha brawled him. What? I alpha brawled him. Blood Feud. I want, you know, this is what happens when you like randomly stream of consciousness on Twitter. You just look like an idiot. Like the first thing I read, I was just like, why am I paying 6 mana for my creatures?
For a prey upon?
Yeah, for a prey upon, for my creatures to fight them, or for my creatures to fight themselves. Like, and someone was like, duh, you have them fight them, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. There was a card very similar to this that costed 4 from, I think, Lorwyn block, but the creatures had to not share a creature type, or they had to share a creature type or something like that.
There was a restriction on it.
Right. So I think this is like a pretty sweet card for Limit. I mean, it's very similar to like Twin Strike from like Ravnica block, but it's a very good. If you notice, I reference Ravnica block for Limited a lot because
you've been playing a little bit, haven't you?
Easily the coolest set ever. So.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Blood Feud basically just says destroy 2 target creatures that your opponents control.
Pretty much.
Hopefully.
Well,
I'm going to be pretty disappointed if I only get to kill one guy, but I'm still going to play this card for sure.
Yeah.
Fair.
Very good.
Burning Oil. Well, you're not burning the midnight oil. You're burning something.
This card is almost constructed playable.
I actually think it is.
I think it's right there. I think it's just right there.
I mean, it might not have like a home yet, but I think that it's. I mean, the fact that it can kill. I mean, it's a 2-for-1 just by itself. Right. I mean, it's very good in like the Desperate Ravings deck if you're a control deck.
Yep.
And the fact that you can just like alchemy, get it into the yard, and then flash it back. It's just. I mean, all those things have you know like very cool applications for a control deck. So.
The problem is there's a lot of tokens and a lot of recurring zombies, undying stuff, so maybe it's not the right
like when you burning oil the Gravecrawler, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So, you know, so
unless you have Dissipate, then your money. But
woo. Yeah, because you get the caster from the yard and then get Dissipate. That's pretty sweet. Curse of Bloodletting. You know, here's a pain reflection.
It seems okay.
Here's a Furnace of Wrath.
Yeah, nice
One
furnace
sided
right
at
at your
least,
face. Awesome artwork. I love the artwork.
Yep.
I think it's beautiful. You know, just one of those things. Like, how good is this? Like, is this like the nut in limited?
If you have a bunch of evasion stuff, yeah, but a lot of the games just come down to like trading and attrition and stuff like that. And if you're not getting through, then
This isn't going to get you through.
yeah,
Right.
It's not going to go the rest of the way for
maybe
you.
like white, red, all those guys that like when it attacks, tap that. When it comes into play, tap that. You know, you keep them off blockers and stuff. Like maybe you have a splashed feeling of dread, something like that.
The
then-
+2/+0 that you can flashback, you know, with that
Rally
the
the
rally of the
peasants.
peasants, you know.
Just do actual infinite damage.
But Rally has the same problem as this, where you need your guys to get through in order for that to happen. So
Right, but that's also an instant, you know, and this is a
Yeah.
enchantment you have to play, and then like say I'm going to my attack step,
Yeah.
and then you know that type of thing.
but
So,
the enablers are really important.
absolutely. So Erdwall Ripper, Erdwall, really guys?
I've played worse cards than this in limited.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Seems
one
fine,
more
limited.
for 1 power plus Slith Firewalker, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing special. I don't know.
I mean,
think,
Strong Kirk Noble was supposed to be like the top tier, so he is, and so this isn't in any way encroaching on that.
No.
You know, just seems fine.
Yeah. I
Never
mean,
mind.
yeah, nothing exciting.
Right. So, Faithless Looting, plenty of words and talk has been given to this card already.
This card's so good.
Oh my
This
god.
card's
I-
nuts.
I honestly don't even know how this card got printed. It's so crazy good.
I mean, I don't. I mean, I think that they understand that the card Careful Study was really good in standard when it was in standard, and like it just continually gets more and more like amazing as more cards are printed to interact with it, and different mechanics are built to
Yep.
interact with it.
Yeah.
And then they print one that's just strictly better. And just makes Lion's Eye Diamond just like the most absurd card in Legacy of all time. Like you just turn one, like Faithless Looting on the stack, Lion's Eye Diamond in your hand, dredge a million, flash it back, dredge a million more, like kill you on turn one.
yeah.
Wow.
And it
The
doesn't take that
flashback
much.
cost seems like, what were you thinking? Like, the flashback cost, I mean, you see all these other cards with all these crazy high flashback costs because you know how dumb they can get.
Yeah.
And this one's just like, nope, boys, we going full
Yeah,
throttle.
we're pushing it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
They could have just color shifted Careful Study. We would have been like, oh, this is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't even need flashback.
Exactly.
Or the flashback could have been blue or something. Like, there's a million different ways they could have made this more interesting or different. They're just like, no, it's just juice, man.
Yeah.
Juice, juice,
I mean,
juice.
I guess I do appreciate the fact that they want to make like very powerful cards, and I think that there hasn't been a 1 mana discard outlet in standard in a while.
Right.
So this might actually help fuel some archetypes that they've kind of wanted to bring back for a while, which is nice.
It will, but it's also very scary. Like, there hasn't been a 1 mana discard outlet for a reason. Like, they've been very, very good.
It's like, I mean, I obviously see it two ways. Like, I love Magic cards. This, for me, is just a big Christmas that I get 4 times a year.
Yeah.
So I'm loving it, and I get excited. But then the other half of me goes like, holy God, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because this card is ridiculous.
Yeah, this is also, if you've been keeping track, the only 1 mana discard spell that I can think of that's playable in Modern. Like, I think Piracy Charm is the other one that people were playing in, like, their blue-black, like, Reanimator deck.
Yeah.
But, like, oh, yeah, just make me discard 1 card. Like, you know, but this actually, like, lets you dig, do some cool stuff.
And flashback later, like,
Yeah.
even just for the red decks, I mean, you know, just like to find the burn spells, like to build up your Grim Lavamancer, like whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
building up Lavamancer is sweet. It also, like, triggers Shrine, which is nice, stuff like
Yeah.
that, so.
I mean, wow. Faithless Looting just still blows my mind.
Discard,
Even today.
discard Chandra's Phoenix. I guess I'll get them back.
Yeah, okay, sure. Find the bolt, weave. Great. Fires of Undeath. You know, this is a card like for red black in limited, most likely.
Very sweet limited card. I like
You're
that.
bumping in the night. Your Fires of Undeathing them. Like Shaheen Sarani's gonna love this card just by default.
Yeah. This is very similar to what's the card from Tom Spiral Block? that,
Strangling
like,
Soot?
Yeah, there's a very similar Strangling Soot. It's 2 for 1, but it can go to the dome when necessary. Very very solid limited card. I like it a lot.
Yeah, should be good in limited. Flare of the Hatebound. This card actually reads kind of awkwardly to me because it sounds like it triggers when it enters the battlefield and when it enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you know?
Yeah.
Whenever it or another creature enters the battlefield from your graveyard, whatever. Regardless, it seems like a fine limited card.
Yeah. If only it were a red zombie and would trigger with Gravecrawler. Just deal them a million. Go.
Oh, so sick.
Yeah. But
It seems like you can build your deck around this thing.
Yeah.
And have it end up being, like, super awesome.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's plenty of sacrifice abilities or sacrifice outlets and things that you can sort of make this guy.
yeah, and
solid.
definitely just like an absurd bomb in limited. Like,
Yeah.
very Flametongue Kavu-esque. does. I mean, can just attack for 1,000,000 and makes all your other Undying guys just absurd. So
Yeah, because it's target creature or player.
yeah,
Like,
it's huge,
wow.
huge.
Or we have the next one.
Fling?
Can fling that guy, kill one guy, bring him back, kill another one.
Oh my god. I think this picture is actually awesome.
I do
I
too.
think it's actually some of the best art in the whole set.
Yes.
Friggin' Goblin.
Yeah, with all like if you notice they're pushing the devil theme for red in this set for whatever reason.
Right.
But with all the Undying things, like Fling is very flavorful for the set too, which is nice. Yeah, but being able to fling any of the Undying guys, especially the flare of the Hatebound, is just very cool.
So when you fling the flare, while you're flocking...
Fling my flare, and then the Forged Devil comes down, and
Yeah. But yeah, so the Forged Devil's happening. Here's the battlefield. 1 damage target creature, 1 damage to you. Like, deals with tokens.
This card could
kills
see
Delver
constructed
Secrets.
player. This card could very easily see constructed play.
Yeah, I mean, it's like preemptive Mog Fanatic kind of. I mean, it deals you 1, but like the fact that it is not a May ability to hit a creature in play is a little bad because it's just a literal dead card against like an alchemy deck.
Yeah, you just play it, it has to kill itself and deal you 1 on the way out just for
It's like
little rub-ins.
it kills itself and then you kill yourself.
I feel good about myself.
but-
This is great.
But it kills Delver, which is pretty huge, I think.
Yeah. Heckling Fiends, like, this to me, like, what was it? Someone immediately brought up the Muppets, you know, the guys.
Yeah.
The guys in the theater or whatever.
That would be
Totally
a-
the Heckling Fiends.
That would be a pretty sweet altar. If you notice, they're like holding up these like sticks with literal hands on them,
Whoa.
which is pretty cool. And they're like,
God. I've got your human hands
Yes.
on my stick.
Yeah.
Like,
we-
wow.
you know those friends you had? Yeah, we killed them and put their hands on some sticks and we're waving them.
Oh, it's so good. Like, just the,
It's
the
just
name,
it's gruesome.
flavor, the art. It's another just one of those amazing Innistrad, like, you know, gems. Like, and I love this. I just, you know, for me, I just hope Wizards is like, this is the way we make sets from now on.
Yeah.
Like, all of the pieces have to fall. And
Just
it doesn't-
pay Richard Garfield as much money as it takes to keep him making Magic sets, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know if he was really like in on this one, but like Innistrad, like the original Innistrad was really cool. So
Yeah, and he did some work on that, as I understand.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so that was great. Hellrider, I like this card.
Seems pretty good.
I like
yeah.
this card a
like
lot.
once Koth and
Hero
rotate, like this will be the default 4-drop for red decks. I mean, just hits him for 4 when he swings in, and all your other guys just deal an extra point of damage. Like pretty huge.
I'm
And
thinking, as a cube enthusiast, I pre-ordered my foil.
Yeah,
I think
that's-
it's pretty nuts in cube.
yeah.
It's good with tokens too.
Turn 1 guy, turn 2 guy, turn 3 guy, turn 4 Hellrider. Like,
Yeah.
like it's no Bloodbraid Elf or whatever in that type of format, but what is? But like, he's got haste, and he makes all your other things deal free damage
Yeah.
to that player.
Yeah.
Like,
Flavor-wise, he seems very similar to like Fury Stoke Giant, where like when he comes in, like you just do some absurd amount of damage to them all at once.
Right.
And the fact that like even if they block all your guys, like you're still dealing them probably like upwards of like 5 damage is really cool.
right, you know, for free, as it were.
Right.
So, and it's include him. So he's sort of like a 4/3 all by himself.
Right.
You know, per se. So I think that's great. Hinterland Hermit feels
Random
like
werewolf.
one
Random
of the
werewolf.
really, really low end werewolves. Like,
Yeah, it's good. It's like another Ironsmith type thing. Like that's fine.
but you know, the Ironsmith guy was kind of like tough to block, and
Yeah.
you know, like the first strike was important. And this guy, you actually have to block him, so he's probably just going to die as soon as he turns over.
Possibly, but if you get to suit him up with anything,
Yeah, then they just have to like chump him every turn or whatever, and it ends up being not that terrible. So
That's fair. You got to put something on him, he gets better. Increasing Vengeance, I think I threw it on Twitter as like just another example of like, you know, forks look really good, and
Yeah.
forks just never get there. Now, this one, they tempered it a little bit. I think it probably would get there if it said anyone's spell.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
the
a
biggest
spell
problem.
that you control.
yeah.
yeah, Fork was all like Fork and was it's not Reverberate. What's the other one?
Reiterate or something? No.
Wild Ricochet.
Oh yeah, this
Oh,
yeah
there's some
this
variety.
was
There's a lot of them.
There's so
yeah,
many forks.
there's a lot of forks, but like the fact that this card is like not twin cast basically, like
Right.
it can't copy your opponent's counter spells to win counter wars is a little annoying. But I think they kind of did that so that you can't just like flash back it when they try to doubles play you for 5 and you just like 10 you.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, it's also, I mean, I think by the same token as you were describing, it would be really annoying if I have a Dissipate and you have Increasing Vengeance and 5 mana on your in the graveyard and 5 mana on your battlefield, and I'm just like, well, I can't play this because you're always going to have the ability to fork it for the rest of the game.
Well, I mean that's
long as
the
you
whole.
play around
But
it.
that's the whole point of forks, though, is that you're supposed to be able to copy your opponent's stuff too. And the fact that this can't, I think, is what really makes it not that good. So
I don't know. I think these forks are good with Goblin Grenade.
Yeah.
Like I didn't
you
like.
just want to make Caitlyn have the coolest Goblin Grenade deck ever.
Yeah,
so.
I mean that's why I think that deck is good. But
Couldn't we make Goblin Grenade better, with its own fork? Maybe.
maybe.
Markov Blade Master. She's rare. She's double striking it.
Holding the Trepanation Blade, I think.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. So
Sweet art. Sweet art.
yeah, I mean all the vampires with their like cool swords and dark mysterious backgrounds. Like this is another one of those kind of cards.
People love double strikers.
Yes. I mean,
Double strikers are always dangerous. Like
If it's the vampire thing, isn't the vampire theme supposed to be like you bite them and then you get bigger, right? So it should be like double biter or something. I don't know.
well, I mean, when you deal it to a player, you put a counter on someone. It bites you twice. You get 2 counters
Yeah,
on
but
it.
it's not striking twice, right?
Well, it is. It literally says it's striking twice, so it gets 2 counters.
Why does
right?
it need the sword?
Well, that's just because it looks cool.
Okay, that's fair. I can respect that.
I think literally that is just because it looks cool. Let's face it. What do you feel like? I mean, I don't think it's going to be inconstructed. I feel like it's going to be a limited player, but not even that good because it's going to come down turn 3, or if you're on the draw, you actually probably gets
Yeah,
a
I
lot
mean,
worse.
anytime you suit this thing up with anything, it's going to be good and limited. As for constructed, like Boros Swiftblade was about the only double striker that saw play.
And even that was kind of
Yeah, it was
except
borderline.
with some Might of Alara, it kind of got a little out of hand on occasions.
That's true. Might of Alara, it kind of got
12
there.
ya, bro.
I mean, there's like mutagenic growth and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, you think there's a future for the old Blade Master?
Probably not, but people love double strikers, like I said.
Like I said, I mean, for me, like they're very exciting. They're what I would describe as sexy. Because they're just like,
Okay.
ooh, like I can, double strike, blah, blah, and I can pump and kill you out of nowhere, But in the real world, it's a one more
Yeah,
device to gut
reality's harsh.
shot. Reality hurts. Markov Warlord, and as I like to describe it, this is what a limited finisher looks like.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good like 6 mana end the game type stuff.
Yeah. I think like they want limited games to be like 7-8 turns ish.
Yeah.
And like these are the type of cards just like, blah.
Should have played around it.
Yep. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, good old Warlord gets you there.
Yep.
What do you think, Todd?
He's pretty cool. Like the very first Innistrad draft I ever did, I had the 5 mana 4/4 that has haste if they have a human in play, and also had the card that like makes 2 creatures not be able to block. So for me, this is kind of like, oh, that's the first draft deck I ever did in Innistrad, all in one card. So like my first draft was terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
it was pretty
very
bad.
bad. I had to read every single card as we were drafting. It was like in one of the Star City limited draft opens.
Oh my God.
And I was like halfway through the pack, and it's like
And draft.
I'm like,
Cards.
So,
that does stuff.
it's in the same color as this other one.
All right, so Wizards, for real. Mondronin? Like, are you just picking random vowels and consonants? Mondronin.
Tormented Pariah 3.0.
Here we go. One more Tormented Prior, guys. 4 mana 3/2s.
This one's actually sick though.
This is actually pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's
if
like-
you flip them.
You have this thing,
Jesus.
you invest time to turn it over, transform it, and normally there's like, haha, I have this flashback spell that I was sandbagging, but this one actually punishes them.
Yes.
So
Like
I like that part of it a lot.
Yeah.
Taking 4 for sure.
What
Yeah,
I don't like a lot about some of the werewolves in this set is in the last set I felt like the power toughness ratio for the like day side and night side was always like kind of
Like mirrored in some way?
yeah, like there was some like reasonable explanation
3/2 into
like,
6/4.
yeah, or like 2/3 into 4/6, stuff like that. But here it's like a 3/2 into a 5/5, and earlier it was like a 3/2 into a 5/4, and it feels like it should be a 6/4.
Right.
But I mean overall, like I mean sure you get more powerful, but I don't think some like random like lady carrying a candelabra should be like a 3-power monster. Like even if it was just like a 2/2 turn into a 4/4, I think it'd be more flavorful.
Right.
Even though it'd be less powerful. Like
I can imagine this, and then also because of the way that the werewolf works when it is flipped, I can actually imagine it being a little annoying if it were cheaper, even if like the stats were lower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it were 3 mana, 2/2, 4/4, it would probably be almost a little too annoying / good.
Yep.
Because you just play her and then skip your turn and deal them 4 every time.
I mean, but then like at that point though, like shouldn't you just make it like a 3/3 into a 6/6 or something like that? I mean, while you make it like slightly more powerful, it does make more sense just like in flavor wise, and I think like if you don't flip the Mage Hunter back over, like you're just dead. Like any spell you get is very
it's doing you too.
It's very
as well
Karavek-esque.
Right.
Just
So
take a million.
Moonveil Dragon comes along, and the long line of red mythic rares that are completely terrible and constructed, but will destroy your face in limited.
That's true.
Shivan Dragon got a little upgrade.
Yep.
About time, I
But
think.
he costs 1 extra red mana.
That 1 extra red, turns out everyone gets fire breathing.
Yeah.
That's what your 1
Yeah.
extra red's paying for.
Yep.
But there's more. It has flying, but there's more, and it's a 5/5 for 6. Like,
Yeah.
they wanted the card to crush limited games, and it does.
Yeah. I mean, big flashy dragons. I mean, pretty standard.
Yep. See, what was the new Phyrexian one, like Balefire Dragon or something?
Yeah.
That was the
Molten
big one?
Steel.
Molten.
Oh no, I know.
Or no, I'm talking about
Balefire was in
Balefire with Innistrad,
Innistrad,
rather.
yeah.
That was the Innistrad one, and this is the Dark Ascension one. Yet another red dragon.
Is this the only dragon in the set? I think it is, right?
I think so.
And was Balefire the only dragon in the last set?
Yep.
Oh, okay, so these
Like,
big...
I like this one a lot more. Like, the Balefire to me always looked sort of almost like metal and artifacty, almost like they had like some, art from New Phyrexia they had to sort of like use.
Yeah.
But regardless, this one seems to fit a lot better for me anyway. I think it looks a lot better in the
I think this one's actually just better in general. Like, costing 1 less mana is huge. Like, 7
agreed.
is so much in Innistrad.
That's what I was saying about the Titans. Like, please make them cost 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elish Norn's fine, but man, those Titans, they just...
Elshnorn's not fine.
Well, at 7, like...
Even at 7 and 9,
She's
she was
incredibly good. Near Heath Stalker?
Fine and limited.
Yeah.
Scuzzback Marauder is the obvious comparison, I think.
Yeah. Reverse persist, basically. Yeah, I played Scuzzback Marauders, but he also had Trample, didn't he? Or something like that.
Yes.
I think he had
Yeah,
Trample.
so, I mean, this guy doesn't have any sort of evasion, so he's probably a little bit worse.
But he comes back as a 5/2, so that feels good.
Yeah, I guess.
And is always appreciated.
Yeah, cards with Undying should never be, like, underrated, I think, so.
Yeah.
Except for ones that can't block.
Ha. So, Pyroheart Wolf, that's actually seems great.
I don't mind this card at all.
This card seems really good. Even as a 3-mana 1/1, you're just talking about 3-mana 1/1s. Each creature you control, when it attacks, suddenly can't be blocked except by 2. That seems really good.
If you're trying to do some sort of birthing pod chain like Strangleroot Geist into a good 3-drop, like this one's honestly not that bad.
Yeah, the fact that he has Undying is pretty cool, too. Like, it allows you to basically use his ability twice.
Right.
So, like, if they have, let's say just 3 blockers, they have to spend 2 to, like, block Pyroheart Wolf to kill him.
Right.
And then he just comes back, and then they're dead. So,
And then he probably trades with a guy on
yeah, on
that
the
turn.
second swing, yeah.
Right, and if you got any sort of tricks in the middle of all that, like you're getting some serious value. At the meantime, their creatures are just getting like completely screwed up because the way they have to keep double blocking everything. And if you have any trick in the middle, that's nuts. So, Russet Wolves. I love me a vanilla creature. I know they're just a hill giant, but I like a hill giant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Hill Giants have been unplayable in any format that they've been in. So, I mean, this is... Like, I'm kind of upset that a wolf is a 3/3. I guess since it is multiple wolves, that's why it's a 3/3. But
That's fair.
I mean, generally, like, wolves aren't that big, and like werewolves, sure, but like wolves are usually just like 2/2s. So
Right. Well, I mean, I agree. Again, I think they sort of tried to explain that, like, yes, it's bigger than your average wolf because there's multiples, and they literally call it multiples.
yeah, sure.
So that's nice. Scorch the Fields. There's some Trogdor reference I'm missing here. Is that correct? There was, like, in the song Trogdor while it's burninating the countryside.
Yeah.
That's scorching the fields.
I mean,
Is that what they're saying
there's
there?
a reason why like my handle is Strong Sad. Like I love everything about HomestarRunner.com, and this is just like pure reference to Trogdor the Burninator, burninating all the peasants, burninating the countryside, scorch the fields, Trogdor. That's it. I would go into song and dance, but I don't think you'd want to see that. So.
Shattered Perception.
It's just Solarian ones, basically.
I don't
but
mind
it's
this
just
card
for-
at all.
Yeah.
It's not for them either. It's just for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I mean, that's kind of a bad thing, but
kind of good. I mean, it's one of those where it's like both sides, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good for you. Sometimes it's good for them. Sometimes it's bad, and so forth.
Yeah.
But
really wanted this card to cost 2. Like it might have been a little too good at 2, but I mean it seems fine. The flashback is a little high, I think. Like once you hit that point, like discarding your hand, drawing cards is not going to do that much. So
I don't know.
unless you're doing something degenerate. Like
you
if
got
you're-
like 4 or 5 cards. You cast this. Your new hand sucks. You're like, well, let's try it again.
Sure. I mean for 1 million mana.
whatever.
Well, I mean,
It's
if you
worth it.
have, you know, if you have an, well, I'm just trying to think of random things like an Avacyn's Pilgrim or something, like, you know, and this is 3 mana. If you draw a land off of it, all you need is 1 more mana, and then you can just sort of use that and token producers, mana producers to flash it back. Like, just Faithless Looting. Just Faithless Looting.
Yeah.
Just like,
The card's way better.
God almighty. And it's common, by the way. Faithless Looting versus this, which is
Yeah.
uncommon. It's kind of awkward for what it's worth.
I don't know why they even bothered making this card when they made Faithless Looting, honestly.
Oh, play them both.
Why not? Talons of Falcon Wrath. This is another one of those, like, these are the cards that make me go, man, Limited's going to be so sweet.
Flash Fireball.
Ow!
I don't like this card at all.
Killjoy!
I don't know if you've ever played with Enrage before, but, like, Enrage was one of those cards that, in Cold Snap specifically, when it was legal, like, it just kind of killed people out of nowhere. And, or was it? No. I'm sorry.
It was in Scourge first.
Oh yeah, Enrage was in Scourge, but then they made one that like cycled and drew a card at like the beginning of the next turn's end step or something for Cold Snap. I don't know. But this is like basically like
Not my kind of card.
Flash Fireball, you know, type of card. It's a little more expensive than that, but it could potentially just kill people out of nowhere, which is nice. So.
Right, I mean, you can, like, you can flash Fireball. It's a great trick. Like, you know, I feel like maybe it gave the creature first strike at one point in time. They were just like, whoa, that's probably too good.
Yeah.
That I'd be fine with.
Oh my God. No, I mean like first strike and the fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want Flash just gets first strike. That sounds terrible.
No, that is terrible. But, you know, regardless. Moving on, Torch Fiend. Thanks for replacing my Hearth Kami.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say, obviously.
Although, to be fair, when Hearth Kami was printed, like artifact lands existed. Like
Yeah.
I played with Hearth Kami all the time and just used it as a 2-mana Stone Rain against Affinity on occasion. So
Sure.
the fact that this can't do that means it's probably worse than Hearth Kami in some situations. But
Yeah, but now it's just 1 mana kill your sword.
but
Does
so
that seem
you're
okay, Todd?
correct.
it seems fine.
Fine.
I'm not going to argue. I'm just saying it is not a strict upgrade to Hearth Kami.
I agree it's not strict. I mean, like, you know, strict upgrades are always like iffy.
I mean, it's basically
not
strict
always.
now that
Sometimes
artifact lands don't exist.
right, well, there's, you know, Squire and Sanctuary Cat, but like all I'm saying is like Torch Fiend is, you know, it is colored mana instead of colorless mana. It can't eat moxes for free. Like, you know, yes, there are things that this doesn't do that Hearth Kami did do, but that doesn't. For me, I still think it's a strict upgrade because most of the things that I want Hearth Kami to eat cost a lot more than 0.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Torch Fiend's good. I'm not going to argue that. So.
Rack with Madness. Rah! Removal spell in red.
It's like the creature just fights itself.
Yeah.
Right, pretty much.
Basically.
It's like Fight Club.
Who is Tyler Durden?
I am Jack's removal spell.
Yeah, there you go.
Nicely done.
All right, guys. So that was our red review for the Dark Ascension spoiler review that we're doing here. And I'd like to thank Todd Anderson, Jay Thompson. I'd like to thank you guys for joining us here at Star City. We'll be back tomorrow for all of the green cards.
I always like the fatties.